Well, if you're in Sydney this weekend and on Friday, you will not be able to get a train. This is due to pay negotiations stalling between the Rail, Tram and Bus Union and the New South Wales Government. I spoke to the state's opposition leader, Mark Speakman, earlier on the program. This is what he had to say.
It's a government that is beholden to unions, and this union can smell the weakness of this government, which has abandoned a wages policy, doesn't have its own wages policy, and we're now seeing industrial chaos and industrial free-for-all in New South Wales.
Joining me now is the union's New South Wales Secretary, Toby Warnes. Toby, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it. We're trying to work out what's going on here. So is it your union that has shut down the rail network for 3 days?
So, Laura, thanks for that. We were surprised as anyone yesterday when the Transport Minister came out and told the commuters of Sydney that the rail network will be shut Thursday through Sunday. Our industrial action that has been was notified on the 4th of November. It was operative last weekend, and we saw the rail network run not only to its normal timetable, but also with additional services. So this to us seems like a major overreaction from the New South Wales Government.
Okay, a major overreaction. So talk me through this carefully, Toby. So your industrial relations industrial action, I should say, was exactly the same last weekend as it is this weekend. But this weekend, Joe Haylen has decided to shut down the train network.
Yes, that's right. There is absolutely no change from the last weekend. In terms of the statement on Thursday, we've been hearing all morning that there's been an agreement reached for us not to take action on Thursday. That's not the case. Our action clearly specifies that it would only start on Friday morning. So our only guess is that the government hasn't actually read the notification and has just heard through a series of Chinese whispers what the actual action looks like.
Hang on, so they came out and said that it will be 4 days of trains not operating in Sydney. You're saying you never said that to begin with, and the industrial action starts on Friday, but it's your view that trains would still have run with, what, skeleton staff or even more than that on Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
So on Friday and Saturday, our view is that trains could have continued to run. It really does depend on how Sydney Trains and the New South Wales Government staffs those trains in terms of what level of disruption there would be. There would likely to be some disruption on the Friday and the Saturday, but certainly absolutely no disruption at all on the Thursday or the Sunday. So the statement that there would be was as surprising to us as it was to the people of Sydney.
Okay. Has Joe Haylen pulled a bit of an Alan Joyce here or something? What's going on?
Look, we really hope not. We like to think that it was just a mistake, that somebody didn't read the notice properly, but we can't write that off. As I said earlier, this does seem to be a significant overreaction, and that overreaction seems to be made at the expense of the commuters of Sydney.
Okay. Well, we are going to hear from Joe Haylen. That's what's happening at the bottom of your screen there. We're going to hear from Joe Haylen and the Transport for New South Wales about what is going on there. So perhaps they're watching this and will respond directly. Toby, before I let you go, I mean, you are still threatening ongoing action. It has been happening for many, many months. Do you think a 32% pay rise is a bit of an unreasonable request?
Well, the narrative's been about 32%. Our claim is for 8% per year of the agreement for however long the agreement goes for.
Still well above inflation.
Our members, like every other member of the public sector, suffered 12 years of wage suppression under the last government. We're now in the toughest cost of living crisis we've seen in a generation. We think that the claim is abundantly reasonable. We're asking the government to sit down with us and find some efficiencies, find some productivity improvements, find some savings. But at the moment, we can't even get them to the table to talk about that. So we're hoping that this action brings that conversation on and we can get this done before Christmas.
So, Toby, it sounds to me like you're saying it was easier to talk to the previous Liberal government under Perrottet than it is this current Minns Labor government. Is that correct?
At times, yes. Unfortunately, for all his faults, David Elliott his door was always open. He was always willing to have an open and frank conversation with us. We've had periods of that with the current government, but it's been certainly in waves rather than a constant stream of communication.
So how does this all come to a head then? Are you willing to negotiate on that 8%?
We're willing to talk about any of our claims, and we always have been.
Okay.
It's something that we've always said. We are willing to sit down and talk rationally about anything that we're asking for.
Right.
As I said, we want to sit down and see what productivity improvements we can find. We want
How
our
many
rail
meetings have you had
network
with Joe Halen
to run better and to run more efficiently. We had a series of meetings around the shutdown of the Sydenham to Bankstown line.
Yep.
I think it was about 3 meetings at the time, and then there was 3 meetings with the broader Combined Rail Unions group following the agreement that was reached to resolve that issue. But since then, it's been crickets, unfortunately.
Do you think she should resign?
No, I wouldn't be calling for that. I think that if we all get together in a room like we did with the Sydenham to Bankstown conversion issue, then I think we can all sit down, act like adults and come to a resolution. The problem is, and I'm not sure why this is, but they just have not been coming to the table. They haven't been engaging with us on the issues that we need them to engage with us on.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that this big hoo-ha will bring about that engagement again.
Could you hazard a guess as to why they're not engaging with you?
Look, we've been scratching our heads about it because there should be urgency. Like, the government has said it wants this deal done by Christmas. We've said we want this deal done by Christmas. But the minister's done more press conferences in the last 24 hours than we've had meetings in November. So it seems that we're showing urgency. We want to get this solved, but the minister just will not engage yet. And we're hoping that this brings it out, and we're hoping that we can get this done before the disruption on the weekend, if any. Okay,
sounds pretty spicy. We'll see what happens, Toby, and we'll hear from Joe Halen and Transport for New South Wales in just a few moments as well. Thank you so much for giving us your time.